Hey groupers, Pastor Marshall. Time to talk about the Holy Spirit. But before we do, let's just talk about ourselves. An icebreaker gets you talking about yourself. You can do that, I know you can. What is your birth order? And do you follow the trends? So they say that the oldest tends to be authoritarian. They say that the middle child tends to be even-tempered and a peacemaker. And they say that the youngest, that's me, is spoiled. Well, do you feel like that you model one of those? Do you match up or do you buck the trend? Well, we want to talk about the Holy Spirit, and we're going to look at Acts 2. Why do you think so many people view the Holy Spirit as less than when we think about the three parts of the Godhead? We even put him last in line. We say Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Why do you think that the Holy Spirit seems like he plays second fiddle? And I want you to turn next to Colossians 2. Colossians 2:9. Read this verse. And in this verse, it doesn't use the word Trinity. That word doesn't occur in the Bible. That's a man-made word. It refers to the three persons of God as the Godhead. I wonder, what do you think of the idea of using Godhead instead of Trinity, replacing our language, using this biblical term instead of this man-made term? Sometimes people will show up on our porches and they'll confront us by saying that the word Trinity is not in our Bibles, and we can get confused and defensive. Would it be helpful? Would it be hurtful? Is this just a big adventure and missing the point? What do you think? Well, why is the Holy Spirit such a confusing and challenging topic for people? Well, why do you think people have a hard time understanding the Holy Spirit? And then if you look at verse 1, it says that they were all together. Who do you think are in this upper room that the Holy Spirit comes down upon? Is it just the 12 or is it the 120? Why do you think that it was one or the other? Why do you think that when the Holy Spirit came, there was an auditory and a visible representation of the Holy Spirit's coming? Why was the Holy Spirit auditory and visual? Why do you think that God did it that way? And then, again, just personally, how have you experienced the Holy Spirit in your life? Share with the group when you feel like that the Holy Spirit spoke directly to you, or the Holy Spirit guided you, or the Holy Spirit influenced you. How has the Holy Spirit impacted your life? If you could lean into the power of the Holy Spirit more, what would you want him to do for you? What would be different about your life if you believed and acted upon that benefit? So if you were to rely on the power of the Holy Spirit, what would change? And then how would your life be affected? How would you act different if you leaned into this benefit of the Holy Spirit? And Moore gives us this list of 7 benefits, 7 things that the Holy Spirit does. You know, your preacher made them all C's. He was a part of creation. He is a part of conversion. He affects our condition, our sanctification. He is a coach. He gives us our credentials. So he gets our stamped ticket for heaven. He gives us his character. He makes us more like Jesus. And he's our counselor. These are the 7 things. Of all the things that the Spirit does for us, which is the most important to you right now? Which do you feel like that you need the most right now? And then be transparent with your group. Why do you need the Holy Spirit for this specific reason right now? Well, the Spirit is always communicating in various ways. So as a group, finish your study brainstorming ways that we as human beings, as Christ followers, can pay more attention to the various ways the Holy Spirit wants to speak to us. How do we listen better? Every week, I remind you of your application. The application this week is really question 8. It is these 7 things that you would think about: the creation, the conversion, the condition, the coaching, the credentials, the character, and the counselor. And just note the one that you personally need right now. Well, I hope that you have a great group. I look forward to seeing you next Sunday when we're going to talk about the ascension. We're just going to go back one chapter to the Acts chapter 1. Until then, God bless.